What's up, everybody? I'm Kyle Fugit, and we are here with take 2 of the direct bookings workshop. So, if you remember, if you joined a few weeks ago, we had to get out of the house. We had a huge deep cleaning going on inside of our house, and it was right at this exact time. So, we packed up, went to Chick-fil-A. If you don't know what Chick-fil-A is, I'm sorry. It's they call it Jesus Chicken around here. So, we went out there, we did this workshop, and it was super loud in the background. I mean, I went back and listened to it. It was absolutely horrible. So I apologize for that one. So I said, okay, we'll do it again. I think it was the Lucia's were on, and they were like, yeah, you could, you're doing the best you can. So now is the best we can. We can actually get this right. You don't have crazy people in the background, kids on the playground, all this stuff going on in the background. But anyways, we're going to go for take 2 here, and I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope everything goes well, and you guys get a lot of value out of this, because that's the reason we do this, right? So you guys can learn some more. So if you have any questions whatsoever, do not hesitate to put it in the chat right here on Facebook. I am looking at it. I am watching it. We should also be live on YouTube too. So I'm looking across the board here, and I'm glad that we can do this. And we're here, right? So without further ado, we're going to jump into it. And I had a couple of messages about the black background. So I was like, oh, okay. Like, I don't really like the white background on the slideshow. They said, hey, look, when I'm watching on my phone, the black is really hard to see with the white contrast and all that stuff. So, like, go back with the white background. But, like, I'm a rebel, right? I'm not going to go white. I'm just going to go like a gray or light blue or something like that. But anyways, I got the text and stuff done. We're going to play with some different themes, so you guys can maybe, I don't know, tell me which ones work better and which ones are just nicer, I guess you could say. So, all right. So let's go for here. Who am I? I'm Kyle Fugit. Got Power Path. We manage a lot of property in North Georgia. We also have a few hotels under us as well. We started Power Path for you guys, for everybody in the STR world. So goal is #1 real estate community in the world for short-term rentals and boutique hotels. And I will say that every single day for the rest of my life, even if we have a bajillion members in here and we are the best, I will still say we're still going for the best. So if you are in short-term rentals, obviously most of you are. If you're watching this is where you need to be. And if you want to get more into the coaching side, you just let me know. All right. So why do we want to direct book? Right? I mean, honestly, like, what is the real reason? When I dove into this before, it was really interesting because you really start thinking, like, okay, what are the reasons? Like, is it to make more money? If you only have one property, if it's just to make more money, like, that's not a good enough reason. But if you want to build a brand around what you're doing, if you want to build a brand around it, that's a totally different story. And that's why that's probably, honestly, the biggest out of all the reasons to build the brand around direct booking for if you have 1 or 2 properties. Now, if you have a management company you're co-hosting, then obviously you want to have a direct booking site because you're building the brand of the company, of the management company. But if you have 1 or 2 properties and you're trying to build a brand around those cabins or around that beach house or whatever, then yes, you need to do this. Now, on the financial side, you do have to pay OTA fees. So, like, if you have an older Airbnb account, it's 3%. That's what we pay. I've seen the newer accounts paying like close to 15% as the OTA fee. And that's in line with like Booking.com and Expedia and the others. But if you're paying that high of an OTA fee, of course you want to come back down and not get charged any fees and make a little bit more money on those bookings themselves, right? So you can find, it's interesting because you can find like what that end price is, and we'll talk about this in a little bit, what that end price is, on Airbnb with the markup, and then you can kind of like, let's say no markup, no fees, and you say, let's just say that's $100 difference. It's usually way more, but let's just say it's $100 difference. You can actually charge $50 more, still be under Airbnb or wherever, and still make more money and still save the guests some money, right? So you have that, like, I don't want to say formula, but you have that like landscape there that you can actually make more money, right? Without having to pay OTA fees and have the OTA markup. On top of that, we have the OTA rules, right? So like if you go through Airbnb, we all know something called the professional renter. If we're going through a professional renter and we're dealing with them, they know how to use Airbnb or whatever platform they're using to their advantage. And when you're not on Airbnb and you're on direct and you're doing more of like the contracts and stuff between you, like just between you two, you tend to make all the rules. Okay. Like obviously you're going to be a human, they're human. People are going to make mistakes. Things are going to happen. But at the end of the day, you don't have to worry about a bad review for retaliation and all this stuff. Like you just kind of skip all that. And when you're trying to work something out with the guest, then, everything is a little bit more humanized. I don't know how to say it. When you're dealing with the guest specifically and not having to go through Airbnb, like there's a face with a name there. Okay. So these are really the big reasons why you would direct book. Now there's other things like you have upsells. You can charge a little bit more money for I don't know if you want to include a breakfast or if you want to have a spa come in or something like that. Like, okay, that's another reason you can have up charges later, but those are things that you might charge on a little bit higher end property and things you don't want to pay Airbnb through and all that kind of stuff. So, all right, now how do you take direct bookings? So we're just going to talk about a couple of smaller things and then we're going to kind of try to wrap everything together. But how do you take direct bookings? Now, I have taken direct bookings through these channels, right? Stripe, Venmo, Cash App. I don't recommend it. Like, please don't do this. I did this at the very, 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 very beginning. Please don't take payment through either one of these. All right. Now, if it's your friend or your family, like, okay, it is what it is. But make sure you document that in the PMS as a booking paid in cash or whatever. So it's with your reporting. So when you sell your properties, they're shown there. But like, you don't want to deal with the guests that you've never met in person through Stripe or Venmo or something like that. One, it's not professional. Two, it's not professional. And three, like, that's just tough. Okay. I just don't recommend it. So you want to take payments through your PMS or something like Stripe, right? Like Venmo and Cash App, like let's take that off the table. But through Stripe is the payment processing through OwnerRez. It's what you would use for like something like Guesty, Hospitable. There. So Stripe is like the main payment processing form. But if you can find a PMS that actually does the payment processing internal, so OwnerRez does that. They do everything incorporated like inside, built in, right? So you're not having to like go into a Stripe account, see if they paid something, go over here, manually refund. It's all integrated in with OwnerRez. So I highly recommend that. And that's really the seamless, professional, no hassle. That's the way you're going to do this. Okay. That's the way you're going to take direct bookings. I would not recommend a direct booking. I would not recommend doing a direct booking without having a PMS. That would be crazy. Okay. Like, so if you're going to do direct bookings, maybe you have one property, you need to get something like Hospitable, something like OwnerRez. I'm not a big fan of pushing Guesty. I came from Guesty, but I'm not pushing that. I personally use OwnerRez. So I would set up OwnerRez. They have their own direct booking site. It's really just easy. Okay. Now the booking process, like what we have to remember, like if we're coming from Airbnb, we're coming from VRBO, we have to remember what the process looks like because these OTAs handle this process for us. Like they are the ones who help us get found, help us manage the calendar, help us with the pricing. They help us with the confirmation stuff. They help us with the HR stuff. They help us with all of this admin stuff. So we have to remember all of the different processes that we're going to take over now. So if you're going to direct book, like you are technically going to take over a lot of this stuff inside your PMS or outside or whatever. So like your messaging and stuff going back and forth, that's set up through your PMS, right? But the biggest thing for your booking process is, one, they have to find you. Then they have to find the dates, and your calendar needs to be straightened out. And when they book the dates and they pay you, then you need to make sure you're upcharging your credit card fees and your security deposit and your confirmation email. Like all of that stuff's going out, and you're getting that guest agreement signed. So like if they book through Airbnb, and this is a good thing about Airbnb, if they book through Airbnb and they damage something or something happens to the property, then Airbnb like helps cover that. Like they play the middleman there. If not, then you need to have something like a guest agreement that's signed before check-in. So the guest agreement says, hey, look, if you damage the property, I'm going to charge your credit card. If you don't check in, I'm not giving you a refund, like all of these things in your guest agreement. So just make sure that you have the process built out before we just jump straight in and said, and I'm just going to tell you exactly how to like find all these people to help you direct book. Like make sure that you have the process built, period, in the story. Okay. Or at least expect, like if you go for a PMS, then you're going to know, okay, the PMS is going to help you manage the calendar. You can put your fees in there. They're going to help you set the confirmation email because you're going to design the confirmation email to go out, and you can create the guest agreement and put it in your PMS to send out for their electronic signature as well. So the PMS helps you, property management software helps you as you go through this process. Now, this is where it gets in the nitty gritty. Okay. If you're like, hey, I'm good. Like, I wish you would have just skipped here. I'm ready to take this on. I'm ready to do some direct booking stuff. I'm ready to take these things outside Airbnb. I'm really ready to build this brand. So how do people find you, right? You have the website, but like you just don't know where to go, right? You want to increase your direct bookings. Maybe you're doing a few right now and you're like, I just want to increase some. So there's different methods. All of these you pretty much know, except the last one. The last one is like really the nitty gritty here. But you have your friends, you have your family, everybody wants a discount. So beware of that, by the way. But everybody you know wants to come at your beck and call when you have a property to rent. And then they're going to say, do you have a family discount? Can I stay there for free? Can I just pay the cleaning fee? Like, it's crazy. Okay. No, I know, been there, done that. We don't do that. We do offer our friends and family a discount, like 10 to 20% off discount, but we don't say, oh, just pay the cleaning fee and you can go home. So you have that channel, friends and family, and word of mouth. Then you have SEO on your website. So this is big. Like if you just make a direct booking website, that's fine just to have like that one page. But if you want to be found organically, then we need to be working on the SEO on the back end side of your website. So you need to be looking at like how your Google My Business page fits in, how any kind of keywords, if you have a blog, keywords, your meta tags, like all of these things get built in on the backside. But the SEO will really be helped out by having multiple pages, like a pet friendly page. And maybe if you're in Blue Ridge, which is where I'm at, you have a page just about Blue Ridge and the festivals and the blogs and all. I mean, the blogs around the festivals and the things coming to the town and apple picking and all these things. Like you would expand your website and have a detailed page of each one of these, and you would grow that SEO. So if somebody says places to stay in Blue Ridge near the apple farm or whatever, then hopefully you would come up because you have a full page about apples. You have a full page about self check-in, let's just say. You have a full page about travel and Blue Ridge. Like you have all these things in there, and that's where your SEO will really start coming into effect. Okay, so that's your organic search. Your website is how people can find you. And you can also have your website on your Chamber of Commerce. So if Chamber of Commerce says, hey, like you apply to be part of the Chamber of Commerce, and they say, hey, you say, hey, I want to be put in your lodging section. So, okay, cool. So this would really work if you have a super well branded property or you have a management company. And so like we're hooked up with the Chamber of Commerce. They have our information on their page. But if you have a super branded property, then you would want that on their page too, so people know where to stay and they know where to go. I think it's like a one-time fee a year and maybe like $150 or something like that. So then you have Facebook groups. Okay. So on your Facebook groups, there are groups out there that are like for rent by owner, let's just say. STR, short-term Airbnb for rent by owner. So you can get in there and you can just post. And people will, there are these mini groups for hyper-focused locations, but also like nationwide, where people are trying to like share weekends and share weeks and availability and all that kind of stuff. And some people will go in there and be like, hey, I want to go to Pensacola this weekend. Who's got a place? And you'll see each other tagging each other, and then they'll post some websites. And owners like to rent directly from other owners because they trust them. There's good communication there. There's respect. We know the hustle, that kind of thing. So there's like a mutual respect between owners. And that's where these Facebook groups are built upon, is finding owners, owners renting from owners kind of thing. So you have that. And then I would tell you, especially if you're branding a property, like let's say you have 1 or 2 cabins and you want to build a website for these 2 and you want to brand them. Well, then you need to go and make a Facebook page for them as well. So the Facebook page is like a little mini branded website for these things. And you could do Instagram as well. Instagram, I think, works better than Facebook, to be honest, for these kind of things. But go and create the page around the brand and have everything linked back to your phone number and your website to book the property. And if you create these Instagrams, Facebook pages, make sure you're pushing content. Make sure you're posting a couple of times a week. Maybe you're throwing some discount codes. Maybe you're giving some education around the area. Just make sure you're giving value so people will come and follow you. Okay. And then you have my favorite, the bait and switch method, right? So if you watched it a few weeks ago, you know what that is, and you can just get off here and I'll see you later. But if you don't know what that is and you want to figure out how to increase your direct bookings, this is, I don't even know why we called it this. We just did, but this is really attracting the clients that you already are getting through Airbnb, through VRBO. They're seeing it and then they're going and they're booking you on their website. Okay. You ready for that? Let's talk about some of these. So SEO, website, we already touched on a lot of this stuff, but in your website alone, you got to have something like this. So I just took a screenshot of our website. This is like a video that was playing. And so these are like paddles for kayaks, and this is a paddleboard, paddles for a paddleboard, whatever. And then this is your like search bar. So this is a OwnerRez website. This is on the booking engine, and it just has like a widget that says like, okay, exactly where you want to go. Maybe you don't have this. Maybe you just have 1 or 2 properties. And then you have your check-in, your check-out, how many guests are coming, your bedroom. You can customize this. You hit search, it'll take you to all the pages. All the properties, okay? But you've got to have this and a book now button. If you don't have this, then nobody can book your stuff. Nobody's going to find you. Okay, so this is very, very important. Like you can have the direct booking site all day, but if they don't have a place to book, it's just a waste of time. Your Google My Business page. So if you are a management company, actually it doesn't matter. If you have a coast company or you have a branded property, you go and make a Google My Business page and have your website and your phone number like linked directly here. Get you some reviews in there. That way people can find you organically through Google My Business. Then you have your Facebook groups. And so this is what we were talking about: vacation rental homes by owner, no fees, book direct. You could throw your website in there. You could throw discount codes in there. You can do all sorts of stuff. There's several here. And look, there's 46,000 people in this group. There's 13,000 people in this group. I don't know if this one would be worth your time, but there's 500 people in this group. Your Facebook and IG page. So in Blue Ridge, there's this place called the Bougie Lodge, and she has done it right. Okay, this is a self-management client, or not. I'm sorry, not client. This is a self-management person that's not too far from us. And she's been running this one for a few years, and her brand around her property is insane. And she posts a ton of content She does very, very well here. And her occupancy is like 85 or 95% every month, even through the slow months. It's crazy. On Facebook, she got 52,000 followers. And this is like her intro, like what it looks like whenever you scroll down, it would be like right here. So she has Lux Cabin, Vacation Rental, Blue Ridge, Georgia, 90 miles from Atlanta. Book your stay. The first link that she has is her direct booking site, bougielodge.com. And she has the Airbnb and the VRBO. Now, not everybody wants to book direct. Some people are a little weary of booking direct. Maybe they got scammed or something like that before. So they would rather go through Airbnb and pay the extra fees. If that's the case, okay, cool, whatever. But there are people like that out there, okay? But this is the Facebook page. You can see she got 14,000 likes, 52,000 followers. They are doing it correctly. And this is her Instagram. She's got 100,000 followers. So I told you this is 52,000, 99,000 followers here. And I told you at the beginning, I told you a couple slides ago, that Instagram tends to do better here than Facebook does. So she posts a lot of content, a lot. And she's got it all set up. Like, it looks really, really good. Okay, so if you're going to do it right. That's all I can say. If it's worth doing, do it right. All right. Now, this is what we do a lot of. I remember when I first started, or when it was really Allie's idea, but when Allie and I put this up, I remember standing in Home Depot and I got a phone call, I would say I don't know how far, couple weeks after. And she was like, hey, I was on Airbnb and I saw this thing and I went to your socials and now I want to go back to your website. I just want to make sure, does the discount really work? And I was like, holy crap, it works. Yeah, this is awesome. Okay, it's working. So this is what we have on the very last, second to last picture on our Airbnb profiles. All the pictures, all 60 or 80 photos that you have, this is the second to last photo on our listing itself. Our last photo is like a QR code for a walkthrough video. This is gold. Okay, so if you're watching this, take notes. So you can see this is the picture. This is picture 77 of 78. Get an exclusive discount on your next trip by following us on our socials. Cherokee Rose Homes. Check out the pinned post to know more and get your discount today. And here's the pinned post. So if they go back to the Instagram, then they can see this pinned video and they can watch it. And, when you look here, get an exclusive discount on your next trip. How do you know this isn't the one that they're going to book, right? It may not be this trip. Maybe it's next trip. This is the next trip. So who's to say it's not right now, right? So then they can go back and they can watch this video. And this video will explain, which is right here. So if you go to the Instagram file or Instagram page, this video is a direct booking video. So if you book direct, it's a side-by-side comparison of, if you book through Airbnb, you're going to pay $1,750. And then going back to the direct booking site and say, hey, look, you're going to save $250 if you book direct. It's only going to be $1,500. It takes you both all the way to the end, after the fees, after the service fees, all that stuff, right where you can put your card information in. And it shows you that it is cheaper to book direct than it is through Airbnb, because everybody wants a discount and everybody wants to save money. And this is the way to show them. So what you're doing is you're gathering the Airbnb traffic. And when they go through all of the photos, they're going to come to this one. And then they're going to say, holy crap, I would love to save some money. Let's go book direct. So this video alone has made us a ton of money, period, end of story. So we were averaging, we had June and July of last year, before we switched our PMS company. We did lose a lot of data for the analytics and stuff, but we were 40 to 50% direct booking in July in June and July of last year. We switched to September, and it was a mix, August, September, October. We kind of did a weird transition, but I just wanted to pull this to show you on average, so this is, don't look at August, that really doesn't matter. September is kind of like, when you look at like October on, between my website and direct, these are pretty much the same thing. They're 17% on average, and they're higher in some months and they're lower in some months. But on average, we've had about 17.5% direct booking on average through like the last bit of busy season into the super slow season. And this is just average. Like, I know people who are just trying to get a couple. So this is just showing in OwnerRez what I just pulled to say, hey, look, we're actually doing it. Okay. This isn't just some bogus workshop to show you nothing. This is real. Okay. Now, you have a huge percentage of Airbnb and a huge percentage of VRBO, but we're actually competing with VRBO. We're at 17.5%. VRBO's at 19. So we're almost equal to VRBO for where the bookings are coming from. And in my opinion, that's pretty freaking good because VRBO spends a lot of money on marketing. So, and we don't. All right. So I hope like this bait and switch here, I'm just going to leave this right here for a second. This is by far the cheapest and the most influential way that we have increased our direct bookings. There's no question. Like these two. Now you have to have the website. They have to go somewhere. You don't need a $10,000 website. You could do something simple as going to OwnerRez, create a direct booking website, booking engine. You can do that, and that doesn't cost you anything. OwnerRez is completely free. You can go to Wix, and you can set up a booking. You could build a nice website, and that costs you like $20 a month. And you can pay somebody on Fiverr to do it for $250 to build you a really, really nice website. You don't have to spend thousands of dollars on websites to get you a direct booking site. And you don't, even if you spent 10 grand on a website, doesn't mean you're going to make any money on the direct booking side. Okay. So, Maria, hey, Maria, how did you make the video? So CapCut. CapCut will do all of it. We actually had one of our socials. I mean, you could do it on Fiverr, but just pay somebody on Fiverr to do it. But one of our VAs is our social media manager, if you will. And years ago, we asked her to create something like this. So she created it, and then it was a cut into another video, and it was like a screen record. It's a screen record of you actually going through like the direct booking side and like booking the exact same days. And then going to the end, having that, screenshot it, circled it, and then it flipped over and it showed a screen record of booking direct on those same days with the price actually lower than Airbnb. And there was some edits and some, it's a cool little video, but if you watch it, if you go to Cherokee Rose Homes, you can watch it. You can see the actual video. It's still pinned. I mean, we use it every day. So, but CapCut, screen record, and or you could just go to Freelancer if you wanted to, or Fiverr, either one of those. You could just pay somebody probably $25 or $50 to try to make you one. So if you guys have any more questions around direct bookings or just growing in general, you're welcome, Maria. But just growing in general, if you guys want to book a call, and then we can jump on, we can see, like, I can see how I can help you. If you're struggling with anything whatsoever in the short-term rental field, let me know. I'm here for you. This was a pretty quick training. This is a redo of the other one, say 3 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago. Yeah, it was 3 weeks ago. And so next week, of course, we'll get back to normal and do what we normally do, something new every day, every week. But if you guys need anything, let me know. Go on here, book a call. I will see you guys later. If you need anything at all, you just let me know.